When I first liked reposting like ladies and thongs. I was essentially around 14 or 13. I don't like that in an odd way. But you know what? When it's cute and sensual, it's like a Tumblr. I went to start my walk with these girls who were staring at me in the mirror. And they looked like Granddad had arrived and said, "Go there, lot." I said, "Yeah, I know, Granddad. Hello." This is Lola Young, in reference to the butts on the wall. And this is creating the capsule music CD buzz. Welcome to the album. My name is Sam Prance, and the amazing Lola Young joins me in this episode. Today, where I'm going to dissect down your fantastic, critically praised sophomore album, Trap by Trap. But this wasn't intended for, "You're doing wonderful, by the way, and I couldn't be happier." No, that sounds snarky, but I'm not. This song is about doing anything you can to stay in the moment, so really be happy to do this. The song is about reading a wonderful book. What does someone need to do to maintain Lola's favor? It's not a lot, but you don't have to do all in your power to maintain my favor, such as not being a jerk. Be considerate and present, such as when you want to have a meaningful conversation or get into something, communicative. Letting you know that, absolutely. If you're discussing love, let you know that's what I need. Well, I believe that to be true. But the song is more about your need to always want them to value you, to give you my approval, to validate you and your feelings as well as mine. And it's never worth it to attempt to keep someone's favor because you should always be in their good graces. Do you see what I mean? The least of all things you should be doing is reading good literature, which is one of my favorite sentences. I suppose driving can truly bring out the worst in people. Therefore, I adore that line. You didn't need to scream in my face when you parked your stupid little car. I've never dated someone who can drive. So regrettably, that was a really off-the-dome lyric. That lyric was more of a metaphor, and I believe that when I write lyrics in music, they may be taken from. The song doesn't necessarily have to be about one person, and each lyric can truly be about one individual. Sometimes looking back, it can seem like that. But I believe that one person in my life and the next can be entirely different. Without a doubt, I've had a lot of individuals in my life drive me around that absolute. And you know, I believe that it tends to bring out the worst in people, exposes their true selves more, and puts them in a position of stress. So yeah, I'm referring to a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is like, what are your driving talents at the F1 level? I don't drive, and I never will since it will be how I pass away. Like I have no idea what my rights are, and I might even get a tattoo of the LNR. Oh, I got it that time, and yes, I'm awful because I can simply say this quickly. Everyone does this thing where they go to the left and then to the right. Let me tell you something. Right now, if this is left, I simply turn around, and since I'm voting that way, it must also be left. I don't understand if it's that way or that way, so please stop. It doesn't make any sense. Excellent one-way system with lefts and rights. Lola doesn't need to drive. One of my favorite things about this album is that there's such a great vibe to track 2, Wish You Were Dead Now. Difference between your rather traditional soulful tone and this brash productions and lyrics, thank you. It sounds like you've discovered and perfected your sound. How would you characterize it? I'd say it's combining a number of different aspects. I believe that Bushy's dad seems like it has a jazzy vibe. Components in the bass line, the cause in the verse. And it transitions into a pretty pop rock thing. In the chorus, there are, really strong drums that sound kind of electric. It has a rock vibe to it because of the strong, distorted electric guitar. But the song is also, if you take it back to its most basic form, I would say my sound is a classic single song, blend of my inspirations, including rock, R&B, hip-hop, and something more, like singing a song. The song is about being caught up in a destructive cycle of seeing someone you shouldn't be seeing again, and at simultaneously, such as when you realize that you don't like them. How did you break that cycle? You must keep in mind that if you don't, you can't love someone. One of the most significant things I've discovered in the last, couple of years of being in connection, it is possible to love someone and at the same time, not like them. It is far more vital to like and respect someone than to love them. In fact, according to 21 Savage, you can love someone and you can love someone merely by being attached. But loyalty is far more significant. You can still stab them in the back, rather than loving, respecting, and truly enjoying them for who they are. I actually like going like you. I want to spend time with you. I find your company entertaining. You're someone I respect. And AT, I wish you were dead because there are moments when it can be more significant than being in love. Because love also becomes somewhat of a decision. We're dead. I can't be honest with you anymore, mate. Not worth it. I mean, talking again, I've read a lot of reviews and criticism about your sound, and everyone says you sound extremely British. How do you feel about those analogies, and what do you think of musicians like Amy Winehouse, Adele, and Lily Allen? Distinguishes between American and British artists. And I think the contrast is fantastic. It's as if you're being compared to the best person who has ever lived. And I don't understand why anyone would feel upset by that. Believe that you ought to take offense to it. Or that I'm not that obvious, so I do believe that I am I. You know, I am always joyful to be. And I believe that's how people understand an artist because, well, I would simply respond, we're Ed here. Sorry. It's true that there seems to be a PE involved in the separation. The British are more direct. And we swear more like better. Yes, you can call me and if you say it with your 3 large brown eyes, big brown eyes. You say this during the tune you were singing before I punched you, and you call me a like instead of not twosome like a worried father, Lola. But why am I singing so much? I mean, how frequently do men talk to females like that these days? These days, I wish you were dead if I were talking to them in that way too. As if it weren't only you, but I would declare with large brown eyes that everything is okay and that the song's deeper message is that, well, you can do anything you want, you desire if you express it, and you blind me with your appearance. Your personality and what you additionally, you act as though you're blind, which is blinding me. You know that you're BL, but it's not always the case. I don't see you, but I see past you because, well, I want to additionally. It has this thing that says, I want to be with you, plays with that longing, mixed with contempt for the individual. So yeah, Big R Eyes discusses the sentiment of it. But I would say that I wish I had the same kind of sentiment. Despite the fact that the song is enjoyable. It's actually about having sex and wanting to having sex with them after being insulted is understandable. But do guys just call girls? Yes, they do it frequently these days, such as in partnerships. And I think so highly of my one Jesus Christ, even if I know it's terrible. However, I'm sure that if you could make a PSA for men right now, what would it be? Be patient and mature. Yes, they require some baby steps. Perhaps they have been overly naive. They are most likely overconfident was, in fact, the first single you released in 2023, only 4 months after your debut album. I can't stop thinking about it, and occasionally disappears entirely. Why did you begin this era so quickly? How comprehensive was this record when I released admitted, uh-oh, I see an eyelash on my thing. I wanted to say that it was still a work in progress and wasn't really finished. At that moment, however, Conceited was the beginning of a new sound that he was working with Jarrow, also known as Sol Monophonic, along with my lads and a few other folks. We were experimenting with some noises, and the one that worried us felt like the beginning of a sound that had developed rather organically. However, I thought, actually this is cool since it's a little odd. It's sort of quirky, but it's also like baseline, so that was yes, it's really unique. Had you trimmed your hair around that time? It was like, I don't even know, periods. But yes, it was about that time. To what extent do you think your style is connected to? Although you sound like they're 2 different things, I would argue they work in parallel because I realized I needed a change after getting my hair cut. And as a result, I was influenced the music and sort of how much it could vary as well as how, because I had cropped my hair, I could be more liberated with its evolution and see how much it could change, provided it a unique feeling. Such as, I can do this, I can do what I want to do, and I can be more creative. It was like a domino effect, and I believe that more than ever, people are aware of the sound of a Lola Young song. And you have a very distinct artistic personality, which I believe is very difficult to cultivate. Thank you very much, and I'm grateful that the 2 projects are now, actually, your energy has changed significantly since your last album. You've been putting out songs since 2019. How do you feel now about your early music? Well, to be honest, it's all a part of my journey. I have frequently stated lately that I have no regrets about anything I have done since. Had I not had I don't really listen to or revisit the old tunes that I don't love. There are other songs in between that I'm not. So you know, and I'm still proud of my first P-in. Although I don't enjoy the automobile ride, I would say that it's all part of me. Don't get me wrong, would not have reached this position or been able to comprehend myself if that hadn't occurred. The same is true with everything in life, really. As fans, it's wonderful to be able to witness your entire creative journey. From I believe the early is fine, but track 5 is now messy. Soon as I heard this song last May, I knew it was a smash. Me and my manager Woody were like losing it over it. I did remark that it was your favorite song on the record at the time. When did I say that? Right before the album came out. You claimed that Messy was your favorite song on the album, which is strange because it's no longer the case. I was about to ask how you felt about the song, altered now that it's such a massive viral smash. Alright, I hear that song and now I view it differently. Repeating a little portion of the song over, and it seems to be simply the S, as to know it has evolved. But I'm still really pleased of that song, which I will always be proud of since it's the first song that helped me and has helped me is one that I actually wrote because it's hilarious. Since I actually wrote in my bedroom, and I can't recall where I was, but I remember everything, like on my S for Me, the song was pretty straightforward. I want to be myself. Is that okay? Am I not permitted to be even with all of my shortcomings? Am I still not permitted to feel like I belong, you know? And that's really what it was about. And I think then I recently been diagnosed with ADHD, and that gave everything context and helped me understand the song better. So I'm really happy of it. I believe that's why so many people can identify with it. In fact, it's almost like it's become a hit song. Message of feeling, which I believe is crucial to avoid because I believe that some songs will get viral or go to #1 because of the catchy melody or the way he nailed the dance. This is a profound song with depth, and that's why I'm so proud of it. I also think it was really affirming to watch a song that was released months earlier blew up. You were saying, this is a great song, and now it's at the top. I'm not sure why, but it's sort of strange. I find it difficult to comprehend, but I am gradually doing so, and it makes me feel incredibly warm, well-deserved. I mean, and it's also like something that always occurs. I promise whenever an artist blows up the term when an industry plant is flung around, individuals clearly don't realize that you've been employed since 2019. How would you feel about that? I believe it's a very dumb expression. Like, I think there are cases of industry. There are viewers who claim that I'm a Nepa baby because of plants. But it doesn't mean they're not skilled. What kind of nonsense is it that my great-aunt AR wrote the graph by herself? I have a lot to say about I'm not an industrial plant, so I'm not even allowed to discuss that. But I stated it made things plain for all of you losers that you're depressed and lonely, and I believe that the people who want to do nothing but post hateful comments online should find something better to do. The problem is that industry plant is only a term that other artists and anyone can use who simply feel angry that someone else is enjoying their moment and don't truly understand what they're doing in life. And if you are an industry plant, you're not going to have your moment for that long, regrettably, and depending, and maybe occasionally, you will it doesn't matter. None of these things matter if an individual possesses talent. In fact, you are a great artist, and the music speaks for itself. I agree, and I'm not an injury part at all, by the way. I also think that people have this misconception about Notion, that because you attended a British school, the British school is actually a huge success, and they dislike it. And it's a typical school, so I was like, yes, it's just a typical school, and I have my belongings. Prior to that, I attended to a pretty difficult school, and you must try out in order to get these things, so whatever, people. I mean, in fact, I had a great time at Brit school. It was truly wonderful to be there. Individuals with a creative spirit and a mind deed. But it was only a school, so you still completed all your during regular classes. There was no dancing on the tables, but occasionally there was. And it wasn't like anyone saw. It seems quiet, but when you arrive there, it was as challenging as any adolescent would find it. School is clearly, the artists that are successful do so for a reason. And furthermore, do you understand what I mean when I say that they want to go there because it's the place to go? It's like you go there. Many TAL people do wind up at the broadcast school because they believe it's the place to go, albeit it might not be for everyone. Why do you think so many people have seen it, and then more people see it? It's that OK Track 6 Walk On By. I never liked realism anyway, so you can take that awful artwork you brought and you can leave my house. What's the hardest thing? When you're in a relationship, have you ever pretended to like someone? Oh, I don't know, that's difficult. The presents, such as the ones you are familiar with, what if someone bought you back? Like that dumb person that walks by. Actually about painting a lot of little items that I've been given that are similar to you. Don't know me? You obviously don't know me because I wouldn't have purchased that. And now I'll simply purchase. When a parent discovers that you have a particular interest, they purchase it for you for $15. I no longer enjoy Thomas singing on Christmases. Mom, instead, I'm 15 the record. Has a major topic of trash or males. General, according to this lyric, you'll be out hand in hand with the girl you said was only... Yes, friend? Has it truly happened to you? No, but I believe it was. Because as I passed by, it was truly sort of pointing to the future. I felt as though I hadn't broken up with my girlfriend yet. And I was expecting that sort of thing, and I happened to be passing by. So even if these songs are I'm taking charge of this while wearing that power, and you know the music is really going, actually, I felt sorry because I was still in the relationship, still in pain, and you know that I was. It was difficult for me to be grieving for something I hadn't yet lost. So yes, passing by was just that. Much like when I see the future. I'll just go by you. Did they hear it when you were still? Yes. Did they comprehend what was happening in the relationship with them? No. In the relationship with them? No. The problem is that he was too stupid to comprehend anything. I believe it's a common occurrence for men to tell their girlfriends, yeah, no, I'm not to that person. And then they do eventually get into a relationship with them. So it's true that that happens. And I believe, to be clear, I believe the relationship taught me a lot. And I don't despise the person or any of the songs on the CD, endured a great deal of suffering and was going through a lot. But I believe that you simply must type of let go and move on. And I believe Al helped me accomplish that, which is why I value writing and music so much. Without music, I couldn't have comprehended or recovered from that connection. It's like therapy. Work through your emotions, don't you? You see, track 7 is my favorite song since I'm a softie on the project, and I appreciate how it's listed in the track list since, as you mentioned, brash tunes, but they're also vulnerable. How did it feel to let your guard down like that? I saw a girl on TikTok say something like she said, you know, this girl messaged she also sang this song as if it were a video, and she did so in a really lovely and quiet voice. She sang, and I was thinking, you noticed? But we captured it on camera and it was like this, yelled, and I had a great time doing that live because there was a part where I screamed, but it was just a you. It seemed like a moment of closure and letting go. And I realized that I simply needed, in order to feel a little more open and vulnerable, I needed to have that moment in the album. The obvious component of that was like, and truly. The song's obvious message is that you still love them. And I wanted that to be understood because, well, it can be quite terrible to let go of love. Especially acknowledging that even though you are no longer able to be in this relationship, they continue to observe things and they most likely. Yes, that's what it was about. And I believe that's why it's so potent. It's like a sophisticated breakup song. Have a lot of songs on the album that kind of discuss how these people are. But this one is like, no, I loved you. Indeed. You observe aspects of me that no one else has. And you even enjoy the line about assisting with your. There are some intimate, touching moments, I suppose, and Sister's artwork is just really lovely, clearly. Walk On By has a slightly different breakup concept than the other song we've played in a row. What do you think? The perfect breakup music, such as what helped you get through your own heartache. Thus, I believe there are a few tunes I prefer to hear it when I'm going through a breakup. However, I believe you should take a Bariana, okay? That's one that this is really obscure and weird. But I listen to it when I'm feeling like I simply need to get through anything. Crosses is a really lovely song by Jose Gonzalez that I like to listen to when I'm going through a breakup. And then there are just so many great breakup songs. I mean, every single bloody song is about breaking up with someone. I need to consider it. Would you rather, like, take a bow? It's really empowering if you're going through a break, yes, but that's what I enjoy. So I'll definitely put on the depressing song that makes you feel down. I believe that wallowing is beneficial, even though it's a cathartic method to deal with your ex. To experience it before you actually do, so people can observe you and then feel as though you gave it to both of you as you passed by. And you struck my skull, all right, track 8, crush. I believe I have a crush on someone, but I detest it because it doesn't mean much. I'm a mug, Lola, so why am I having a crush? Crush, so embarrassing. All right. So this was the point at which I actually arrived in Los Angeles, and I had broken up with my ex and met someone new. The song's message is that when you're having a rough time, you feel foolish, vulnerable, and that you're always in that phase of infatuation where you're thinking about them all the time. I was in a really odd state of mind and realized that this past wasn't love, but it seemed like it was simply me coming. Clear that having a C, someone who believes it's all about you can't be crippling and a little embarrassing. Consider how loud and strong the song gets towards the conclusion. And that's precisely how I feel, just saying, I detest it, get out of my head, and yeah, But I think a lot of people may identify with that because there is nothing worse than wondering why I can hardly form a coherent sentence when someone is directly next to me. And it's really confronting. Yes, the song is clearly the title. Crush. Thus, I feel compelled by law to inquire as to who your SLB crush was growing up with and why. What is this classic? And you know it will be all right? Well, it was for when I was a little older. It was like Scar and all that, however, my major CB accident was Origin and a Prince, but it was only Leonardo DiCaprio. And it was Blood Johnny D. What is your favorite Leo movie, huh? All right, so I also enjoy the beach. Shaw Island has a beautiful soundtrack, and I adore the beach. I think Island is a fantastic movie. And I also think Inception is great. Yes, no classics. But tell me about your first time consuming crush. How awful did that feel, really? I mean, I had a thing on someone every day. So, but it was just like, this isn't love is everything, even though it's not. But it's as if you simply. You're just you. And I'm also trying to tell myself that this is enough, but it's not enough. It's like, sure, I think attempting to push oneself into that area in order to avoid having to feel things that you are aware of can be bothersome when you have excessive feelings about something entirely unrelated. There's a spicy lyric coming up. So you'd better explain how it works to me since you know you're going to make my trousers drop. Anything what inspired this song Lola? Music, I'm not sure who wrote that. It's not me, but you know that I believe you are aware that there are a lot of people who are interested. In my upcoming CD, I'm referring to you when I say that I prefer dirty songs that have a pro-prom sexual undertone of myself and, being self-assured and unrestrained with It's Not for the Children. But it's also just about having fun and thinking that the music was just for fun. I wanted a lighthearted song that wasn't very serious. We are 9 years old today. And every day, deep. No, sometimes you simply want to. There aren't any collaborations on the album, which is unusual these days. Was it a conscious decision? And if so, why wasn't anyone wanted to give me a clap at that moment? But no, it was. And I believe I'm going to do that intentionally, I believe. Even if I've done some partnerships, I've worked with Tyler the Great and I've done a little bit of Were as well. But I believe one thing about Billie that I truly admire is that she simply doesn't do it because she respects her own skill and is sufficiently aware of her preferences. She has done it on occasion, but for her albums, she truly stays loyal to herself. I believe she has a few business partnerships, but not many. I believe that if I find someone or an artist who I truly admire and adore, I will definitely do it. Simply depends on who it is. For example, I would love to work with SAR and a wide variety of people. She constantly comments on your stuff, like she loves you. How's that? It's incredible. I mean, I would adore it. Would like to collaborate with her. And I would be thrilled to perform a song with her. The time is all that matters. And finding the time because you are aware that these musicians are really busy. Oh, the top 3 Scissor tunes, that's difficult, but I really adore every album and, well, the top 3 Scissor songs. I apologize, but I'm unable to respond. I like G Say That I Love Her, but it's changing right now and it's Shattered Clocks off her Control album, Control album. And the new project is crazy, just like BS Baby Daddy. It varies daily. But I adore Control, thus that's my favorite album. Oh, I see. Track 10, Intrusive Now. This song really impacts on your personal journey with mental health. How are you? Actually doing with your mental health at the moment? And has success aided you in any way? There are numerous things I could enter, but I believe we have enough time. I've been doing well. I've been stable for a while, I believe. But the success necessity hasn't helped in the sense that it has not helped. So it's a position where I'm much more stable mentally than I've ever been. Happier and just success can be impacted by having that stable position. Thus, you should be stable, and I had to examine myself a few times, because happiness can lead to more success. Several times and ask Lola if you're okay and remove myself from specific circumstances due to mental health issues. Challenging circumstances that, but I've been very transparent about my mental health condition. And I'm going to be candid about some additional experiences I've had over the past few years with this upcoming album that I'm now working on. I believe it's simply because there is a great deal of stigma associated with having these kinds of conversations that must exist in order for people to connect and feel more at ease discussing these topics. However, I am steady, and I appreciate you asking. Fans have commended you for being very candid and enjoy discussing you with me. You already disclosed your ADHD and your schizo. Did any musicians have a significant influence on you as a child because they raised awareness of comparable issues? I believe that there have always been things like I was even viewing an interview with whom... Oh, I tried to chat to CL Kane about it, but he was just talking about, basically, he talked about being depressed in one interview. And I believe that even just an eye coming up and expressing their feelings, followed by an interview with Michael Jackson, I'm sad, and I don't enjoy going on where he is at all. Additionally, simply stating that publicly displays a humane attitude makes an artist appear and feel more compassionate since, well, most of the time when you're in the spotlight, you, the general public, the audience, and the consumer lose sight of what's crucial, that they are only human and not this way. As you know, God, and even as one of my favorite lines from Fragos. So I'm afraid, yet sometimes I feel like I'm God, even though I'm not. And you must realize that simply expressing that I'm not doing well this is quite significant. And I believe the question was how we're only artists. Who was very important to you when you were growing up? So I'm not sure if anyone was honest or forthright about their sentiments. I'm referring to what you just stated regarding traveling, as you're clearly currently flying all over the world, played in Australia. How is it to go on stage in front of thousands of people and then, I suppose, head to a hotel? It's incredibly difficult, yes, because you have a very strong innate fear of leaving the stage. Like you, all these people yelling your name, and then you simply return to your own solitude. As if, although it can be somewhat difficult, I have to get used to this and, well, I wouldn't sure. I would trade my career for the world, but don't be too hard on yourself. It will take. You definitely seem to be doing really well from the outside track 11 outro, and I appreciate that you have time to adjust. When you finish the record with a spoken workout outro, I was genuinely thinking, why did you want to end it this way? Intending to do this for a while, but I simply decided that I wanted to put what I'm discussing into context. I believe that this was not intended for you in any case, and the title indicates that it is about many individuals may interpret it differently. So I wanted to make it clear that I don't compose any of my songs I don't write to anyone thinking, oh, how is this person going to think? I don't write from that location, so it's meant for me, but I want to have a #1 hit. It's intended for myself, and if others find it appealing, that's a fantastic result of my hard work, and I believe that, to be clear, it's about how it's benefiting me, and as a result, it may genuinely assist others, hopefully, and it's doing that in a significant way. Up the Tumblr shoutout, were you a huge fan of Tum? What was your style on Tumblr? Did you enjoy my Tum aesthetic? I was around 14 or 13 at the time, and I really liked reposting women in thongs. Like that, not strangely. But you know what it's like when it has attractive, sexy girls wearing it, staring in the mirror. After which I simply repost it, and after that, there will be something like a profound poem, like a very yes, it would be profound, followed by sadness, and then it would be like, I know, like a random items, I suppose. And I had a full wall of them in my bedroom where I'd want to. I actually went and printed out a ton of these, as if I were going to start them on my wall. When my grandfather said, "There are a lot of bums on your wall," I replied, "Yeah, I know. That's the Tumblr experience, Granddad. Is it all right before we?" Hey, you've actually stated on a few occasions that you're already deeply involved in the upcoming album's production. Is this a brand new record, or are you working on a deluxe version? This is something completely different, and I'm thrilled about it. It's great. What's the general vibe like? Tone like? I'm not really able to tell you what you can tease anything at this time because it's almost finished, but I don't want to reveal too much. So I'll just say, this is what I'm about to say, everyone, and you'll understand. I say because I recall this when we hear, yeah, well, thank you very much, thank like this project as we mentioned. Since you're such a talented lyricist, it's wonderful to hear how many people can relate to the particular tunes. Observe your actions and the impact your music is having on others. I'm eager to see the upcoming album and hopefully have you returned. Yay, thank you, Lola. Yay, thank you, Lola.